Welcome to Imagine, the adult nonfiction imprint of Charles Bridge Publishing. I'm glad to present our amazing list of titles releasing in 2022. Jason Summer and his father Jay flew to Budapest in 2001 and embarked on an emotional journey into the past. Starting at Jay's birthplace in what is now the Ukraine, they traveled to Auschwitz, following the 1944 rail route that led to the murder of so many of Jay's family. Jay's brother Shmuel was shot and killed by German guards as he escaped from a transport at a bridge not far from Auschwitz. How Jay and Jason found that bridge, and what they saw and felt as they revisited the scenes of Jay's own wartime terror, the labor camp where he was enslaved, the fields and streets where he witnessed unspeakable horrors in his harrowing effort to survive. These form the core of this memorable book. You can watch a wonderful conversation between Jason Summer and editorial director Kevin Stevens on our website at imaginebooks.net/LJDOD.
In adulthood, I went with my father to Eastern Europe to see the sites of his Holocaust, and also to try and find the place where his younger brother Shmuel attempted an escape from a transport to Auschwitz.
Irish poet Seamus Heaney wrote that once in a lifetime, the tidal wave of justice can rise up and hope and history rhyme. In this comprehensive and engaging history, Douglas R. Burgess Jr. lays out the universal principles that support our innate desire for justice. He illustrates how these principles can help us move beyond the current lack of faith in our institutions and embrace the essential vision that every person is deserving of equal rights under the law. When Hope and History Rhyme is both a deep look at the long history of natural law and an application of history to current events, including the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. The book illustrates how a single idea gradually moves from philosophic periphery to political centrality, transforming the concept of law and providing a foundation for bringing war criminals to account and working toward the universal acceptance of human rights. Check out the conversation between Douglas R. Burgess Jr. and editorial director Kevin Stevens at any time in our booth. David Alexander Baker is a film and video producer specializing in science communication for Oregon State University. His documentary, Saving Atlantis, is about the dramatic decline of global coral reef ecosystems and the impact on human populations that depend on them. More than half of the world's coral reefs have been destroyed in the past 50 years due to the climate crisis. The Lost Continent helps readers gain a deeper understanding of coral reefs and why they are vital to the health of our oceans and the survival of our planet, and highlights the incredible conservation and restoration strides being made around the world. With over 60 breathtaking photographs of coral reefs spanning from Colombia to Australia to the Florida Keys, readers will be moved both by the majesty of nature and the urgency to preserve and restore these great cities of the seas. When British explorer Felicity Aston put out an open call for women with little to no experience willing to brave the elements on an expedition to the North Pole, she was stunned to have over 1,000 applicants. After narrowing it down to 10 women from 10 different countries, some of whom had never seen snow before, the team spent the next 2 years training for this unique opportunity. Each member of the team tells part of the story in her own words, chronicling their grueling preparation in Iceland and Oman, the anticipation for the journey, and the terrifying conditions of the Arctic. Set against a backdrop of Arctic pack ice that is thinner, newer, and less stable than ever before due to climate change, the team faced the realities of hungry polar bears, extreme temperatures, and the possibility that anything and everything could go wrong at any moment. Polar exposure is a powerful celebration of the perseverance of women in science, sports, and exploration that sheds light on all that it takes to reach the top of the world. At age 4, Phyllis Biffle Elmore was plucked off her front porch in Detroit and dropped on her grandmother's doorstep in rural Alabama. Phyllis felt utterly abandoned until Grandma Lula showed her both all-encompassing love and her intricate quilt of souls. Phyllis listened intently as Lula told epic stories of folks who had passed on as she turned their clothing into breathtaking quilts for their families. Grandma Lula's generosity of spirit, strong will, and creative soul animate every page, and through the quilts she paints portraits of extraordinary Black women born before and after the Civil War. They are enslaved people, laundresses, storytellers, healers, and quilters whose stories have gone untold until now. Beautifully written and brilliantly told, Phyllis weaves back and forth through time, piecing together true tales of racism, sexism, and colorism, but also strength and pride, creating a multi-generational patchwork honoring her family and her ancestors. From the lush visuals to the powerful history, Quilt of Souls is oral tradition written and preserved for posterity. Please check out the Significant Lives Revisited memoir panel today at 10:15 a.m. in the Sessions Arena, and check the conversation between Phyllis and editorial director Kevin Stevens anytime in our booth. Author Todd Myers works at the Washington Policy Center, an independent nonprofit think tank that promotes public policy based on free market solutions. His note about time to think small: in this book, I want to alert the public to a promising new phenomenon, that environmental struggles today are increasingly won by individuals whose power is amplified by connecting to others using powerful new tools like smartphone apps and small connected personal technologies. In Todd's role as a professional environmentalist, he has had a ringside seat to how these brand new approaches are already playing a huge role in winning some of the most difficult and important environmental struggles of our day, from fighting climate change to ensuring drinkable water for everyone, to saving endangered animals, and to keeping plastic out of the ocean. Learn how these technologies magnify and multiply the power everyone has as individuals to save our environment, and how this tremendous power is not only growing, but also has the huge benefit of being independent of sudden shifts in political leadership. Watch Todd later today at the Beautiful World nonfiction panel discussion. It's at 4:05 p.m. in the live sessions arena. Thanks so much for joining us today at LJ's Day of Dialogue. Take a look around the booth for author chats and book information, and be sure to visit our galley room at imaginebooks.net/LJDOD. Have a great day at the conference.